All right, guys, we should be live right now. Hopefully, uh, hopefully everything is going smoothly. So I wasn't sure whether or not to make this a dedicated video or to do another live stream discussion slash reaction. So obviously I opted to go with the live stream here. And so we we certainly have some interesting things to discuss today. I don't know how long this stream's going to be. It could be 25 minutes. It could be 2.5 hours. It really depends on how everything goes down. I also don't normally stream at this time, so I kind of wanted to experiment and just do a stream during a different time and see what happens, because I know that there's people tuning in from all over the world, and this time is inconvenient for some, it's more convenient for others. So I try to go back and forth a little bit. But what are we talking about today? Well, we have some, as I said, important PlayStation information to go over and talk about. If you are a PlayStation fan, I think this is something you're going to want to pay attention to. And I know that a lot of you are probably already aware of what it is, but I kind of want to just take some time to really dissect what we're learning about, what we're hearing about here. So yesterday, Sony had a lot of information come out. And I know that a lot of you were wondering, like, MBG, when are you going to talk about Returnal? Are you hyped for it? What are your thoughts on it? I'm definitely going to be talking about it, not necessarily during this stream, but I am going to be talking about Returnal, probably make a dedicated video on it. We had the podcast coming up, so I'm going to talk about it there as well. But this stream, or this video, whatever you want to call it, is going to be dedicated to not only talking about this new IP that Sony announced yesterday, and it's pretty significant. Like, I don't think people fully understand the significance of what Sony's actually doing here with these announcements, but of just like basically, hey, like, we partnered with veteran industry talent that are making their own studios, that are making new studios, and we're making sure that their first games are exclusive to PlayStation. It's a pretty big deal. But what's even more interesting to me is there was an interview, somewhat kind of an interview that was done with Hermen Hulst. And we went over an interview that Jim Ryan conducted yesterday, but we don't really hear too much from Hermen Hulst. But yet he plays such a vital role at PlayStation. He is pretty much the guy who decides what games get developed, what games don't get developed. He's the guy that's in charge of determining the entire portfolio of PlayStation games that we're going to be getting throughout the entirety of this generation, as long as that's his job. And he said some really interesting things yesterday. And if you're wondering why I put in the title, Sony shuts down the critics or silences the critics, it's because that's exactly what I feel happened here. There's been so much negativity surrounding PlayStation, so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And PlayStation just comes out, Sony comes out. Granted, they haven't revealed anything major yet. They did make this announcement, but still, we have a new member. Ryan, thank you so much, man, for becoming a member. Really appreciate that. If you guys do want to help support the channel directly and help support what I do here, either consider becoming a channel member, donate a super chat, anything like that. Even just hitting the like button on this stream where the video helps it out. So yeah, really appreciate that, man. Welcome aboard. But looking at this, I want to read over this first, just talking about this new IP, this new AAA IP that Sony announced. Now, for those who maybe didn't catch the video yesterday, where we go over what Jim Ryan was talking about. One of the things Jim Ryan talked about was the amount of games, exclusive games, that PlayStation is going to be bringing to the table over the course of this generation. And he made a bold claim, in my opinion, and that claim was that they're going to have more exclusive games for the PlayStation 5 this generation than PlayStation has ever had in previous generations. So more exclusives than we saw for the PS1, the PS2, the PS3, the PS4. And I think a lot of people didn't really pick up on this, but in my opinion, Jim Ryan was basically letting us know that at least PlayStation fans that look, all the conversation lately has been around Microsoft, and the amount of studios they have, the amount of games that they're going to be releasing now that they have 23, 24, something like that, just an absurd amount of studios, and Sony doesn't have as many. And so the conversation has effectively been shifted towards quantity over quality, in a lot of ways, not entirely, but more so than we should be seeing, which is fascinating to me. And Microsoft is the one that effectively made this transition happen, I guess. Dave Carter, you're saying, I'm here to support you, MBG. Give me a shout out. Well, shout out to you, Dave Carter. Really appreciate the support, man. Appreciate all the support you guys show. Thank you for that, man. But yeah, so you guys are saying the video's choppy. My stream's tanking. Dude. All right. How's the audio? Apparently the audio is fine. Give it a minute. It'll probably sort itself out. I get these really bad lag spikes, and I don't know why. There's really no obvious cause for it. I don't know if it's my PC or if it's my internet connection, but just give it a second. It'll clear out. It always does. At least I'm hoping it does. You guys are saying it's fine now. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I really don't know what causes that. I have a wired connection. I have, fiber optic internet, the fastest internet that, I can afford. So I don't know. iSiler18, another emergency MBG stream. I wouldn't necessarily call this an emergency stream. And I don't want it to be as long as the previous streams, because the previous streams basically were secondary podcasts. I want this to be a little bit more easy for people to tune into after the fact. So I'm not really doing a good job considering we are 8 minutes into the stream and I have yet to even go over anything, but let's do a little bit of reading here. So PlayStation and Firewalk Studios announced publishing partnership for a new original multiplayer IP. Now, I want you to pay attention to the fact that this is a multiplayer IP, okay? This is not a single-player, story-driven IP. It looks like the stream's still really choppy. Are you guys getting that on your end? Because I'm looking at it here, and it's looking pretty choppy. I might take the face cam off if it's. Dude, I really don't know why this happens. I really don't know why. I'll have times where I can stream for hours and it's perfectly fine. There's just no issues. And then there will be other. Oh, you know what? I bet you I know what's causing it. Give me a second. I have a bunch of other tabs open that I forgot to close. I bet you that's what's. And there's probably a bunch of stuff playing on them. Give me just a second to close these tabs and see if it fixes it. All right, I closed all the tabs out. If that doesn't fix it, I'll just remove the face cam so I can actually, start doing what it is I need to do here. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Just let me know if it... You're saying it's choppy, not blurry. Yeah. Let me know if it sorts itself out. We have Jacob, you're saying, just watch the PlayStation 5 generation will have 3 times the amount of exclusives than the PS4 generation. Yeah, I think we're gonna be eating good this generation. I really do. I think that we don't have to worry about the quantity of games. I don't think we have to worry about the quality either. I think Sony's got it on lock. And then we also have Brett, you're saying, any idea why Xbox fans are... Dude, I think my computer's crapping out, man. Everything's lagging for some reason, and I don't know why. Brett, you're saying, any idea why Xbox fans are mocking Sony for exclusives? It's not like they'd be fine with Halo or Gears going to PlayStation. Yeah, to be honest, man, I haven't been... You guys are saying it's better. All right. Yeah, I hate it when this happens. It always messes me up, messes up the flow big time. But yeah, I haven't been paying too much attention, honestly, to Xbox fans or, a lot of what they say or what they've been saying. I mean, obviously I come across some of it just because of the nature of my channel and, you know, my Twitter and whatnot and my comment sections. Occasionally I do come across it. The thing I've seen recently, which, you know, maybe we'll talk more about in depth, is I've seen people trying to compare Recore. If you remember that was like a 2017 Xbox exclusive. It was definitely like a AA exclusive. It didn't have the AAA polish that you would expect in a AAA game. I don't think it was sold at a AAA price though. But people are trying to compare Returnal to Recore, and I will admit, like, gameplay wise, there's certainly a few similarities, but outside of that, they're very, very different. They're very different games. I don't really know why people would be comparing them that way. I've seen some people apparently trying to compare Returnal to Crackdown 3, which is, I don't really know what to say about that. But anyway, let's move along here. So this is a really interesting announcement that Sony made that I feel like people are not talking about this enough. Okay, like, people are not and I understand why. It's because of the way that Sony is announcing these games. Like, Sony announces, oh, hey, Jade Raymond is building a new studio and they're going to make a new game. And whenever this game is done, it could be done 5 years from now, could be done 3 years from now. We don't know. But whenever the game's done, it's going to be exclusive to PlayStation. We're seeing a similar thing here. Now, I'm pretty sure this person, Tony, I think the way you pronounce their last name is Shu. I think. I could be wrong about that, but even though it's HSU, I'm pretty sure that's pronounced Shu. I think it's Chinese. Please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Nate the Great, you're saying, I had an Xbox fanboy legitimately tell me that Xbox has more exclusives than PlayStation. I wouldn't even waste time getting into arguments like that, because you know what? Like, both Sony and Microsoft have a lot of games in development. My whole argument, anytime I have to bring it up, and I certainly do have to bring it up, is, I mean, Sony, look, when Jim Ryan said yesterday, when the interview came out, that we're going to have more exclusives than ever before, I was sure to let people know, like, this isn't just Sony talking the talk here. I mean, they are talking the talk, but they're also walking the walk. You know, I literally, you know, it's funny you mentioned that. I had somebody in my comment section, I think, in my video yesterday, they literally said, like, yeah, we've been hearing about these games, but when are they going to drop? And I'm like, what? Like, I was really confused, because I'm like, are you talking about PlayStation? Because PlayStation has been dropping games very consistently, like insanely consistently. Like, surely he was talking about Xbox, right? But I was confused because I didn't talk about Xbox in my video. So it was really weird. But, you know, Xbox has games that I'm looking forward to. Anyway, I keep getting completely sidetracked here. All right, so there's a moment that happens almost every day in our multiplayer play tests where someone jolts out of their seat, laughs, and says, to no one in particular, did you just see that happen? These amazing and unpredictable moments in gaming are the sparks that occur when playing with others, future memories ready to be replayed and retold. We started Firewalk Studios in 2018 with this kind of spark at the heart of our games. So what's interesting about this right off the bat, this is a studio that apparently was founded in 2018. So this is a little bit different than the Jade Raymond situation, because the Jade Raymond situation is very much like they didn't even have a logo or anything. So it sounds like they actually have a game that he says it here that they're playtesting. This is interesting to me because whatever this game is that was announced, it could very well end up coming out sooner than we might think. But he says, it's why I used to stay up till 2 a.m. playing Phantasy Star Online night after night with the same group from Server 9, or how the neighbors who showed up at my NYC apartment to complain about the noise ended up jamming with us in Rock Band instead. That's okay. For others on our team, it was spending the nights with their crew searching and finding the perfect last armor set piece in Diablo, 2, making the online qualifiers in competitive Halo tournaments, or skipping studying for a math final to play Left 4 Dead 2, to play in a Left 4 Dead 2 LAN party. Devakin89, you're saying, MBG, let's be real. PlayStation relevant games don't have dates. Well, I mean, come on, Devakin. Like, I mean, Horizon's most likely coming out at the end of this year. And I mean, pretty much all of the Xbox games, and I'm talking like the bigger games that Xbox revealed. I guess if you call them bigger games, I'm assuming they're bigger games. They're all most likely a ways away too. So, but this article goes on to say, as a next generation AAA studio and part of the Probably Monsters family, we've carefully assembled an amazing and diverse team of best-in-class talent who are focused on creating these moments. Everyone here brings a deep passion for games and the art of making them. We have a saying at Firewalk, build a great team, build a great game. One leads directly to the other. The Probably Monsters world-class operations team and infrastructure has allowed us to focus on doing both better, fostering a sustainable development culture where people come first and delivering great games. Our collective leadership team is no stranger to building memorable multiplayer experiences. Ryan Ellis, our game director, was a creative director on Destiny. Elena Seigman, our executive producer, was a producer on Guitar Hero 2. That's pretty random. BioShock Infinite and multiplayer Destiny releases. Our deeply talented team has helped bring to life franchises like Mass Effect and Apex Legends. Combined with my own experience and the thousands of hours played on Call of Duty and Destiny, we've had the opportunity to deliver some of the decade's biggest experience to gamers, and we've loved it. We have OR is what I'm going to call you because I don't think I can pronounce your name, buddy, without butchering it. He says, I appreciate your humility, but sometimes you focus on that quite a bit and spend a lot of time apologizing. Try not to. Hope your son is well. Too. Yeah, thank you. My son's doing well. Yeah, I know. I have a tendency of being too apologetic. I don't know why. I guess it's just because I'm always kind of hard on myself and I'm always trying to be better, you know? And so I feel like part of that is you kind of have to hold yourself accountable, but I'll try to do better with that because I actually do agree. I think I am too apologetic. But, you know, paying attention to this last paragraph we just read, this is important to look at because what it's telling you or what you know, Tony is trying to tell you here is that their studio is made up of industry veterans who have been around the block and have participated in the creation of some of the biggest multiplayer gaming franchises that are still very much relevant today. So this is, you know, important stuff to pay attention to. I keep stuttering for some reason. Goes on to say, today we're thrilled to announce a partnership with Sony Interactive Entertainment for our new original multiplayer game. For our team, the opportunity to create new worlds and inspire more amazing moments for players around the world is the fire and ambition that keeps us going. The PlayStation team has a deep love and respect for the medium of games and some of the best expertise and capabilities in the world to help make big ambitions a reality. Laman, you're saying, Laman from Sweden, when do you think Final Fantasy 16 drops? I think Final Fantasy 16 will be a 2022, maybe 2023 game. I think 2022 the earliest. Perfect Image, maybe I'm giving them too much credit though, right? Perfect Image, you're saying, since Sony recanted, do you think there's hope for PS1 through 3 to go to PlayStation Now, or what do you believe? So, you know, to kind of talk about the backwards compatibility thing, just to give a brief answer, I think Sony's working on something. I just think that what they're working on is kind of far out. Like, I don't think it's going to be ready anytime soon. It might be ready sooner than we think, but something in my eye. But I think they are doing something. You know, what Jim Ryan announced. You know, the fact that they're going to keep the PS3 and Vita store open. It's a goodwill move. Make no mistake about that. I need everybody to understand that Sony's not gaining anything by keeping the PS3 and Vita store open other than the goodwill of the gamers and their core audience. So, you know, I want to believe they're working on something. I mean, I want to believe that. I don't know if they are, but we'll see. Lyro, you're saying, MBG, I like how you respect retro gamers despite that you don't care about old games, but there are some opposite of you, like the legacy BC deniers being toxic and disrespectful to one another. It's just wrong. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I try to, you know, be fair about it because the thing is, even though I don't personally care too much for older games, I try to understand the fact that they are important to acknowledge to some extent, right? Like, I'm not saying that they have to be the priority. In fact, I don't think they should be the priority, but I don't think we should go out of our way to actively disrespect old games. We have to understand, like, that's why we are getting the great games we got today, right? Without those games, where would we be today? I wouldn't be a gamer without those old games, So I appreciate that, man. I try to keep it fair and balanced. He says here that we're already hard at work on development and have been having a ton of fun playing our game as a team. In fact, while we continued to grow our team during this challenging last year, it was our daily online playtest that provided us the most consistent point of joy and connection for our crew. The fun and laughter of playing together brought us closer, even if we were physically apart. Our goal is to be able to deliver that same joy to gamers, and we can't wait to share what we've been working on when the time is right. We're very fortunate to love what we do, making games. There's more game making in front of us, but in the meantime, we'll keep playing the incredible games this industry creates and generating a few more sparks of our own. See you there. So, all right, this was the article that was written up on, you're saying Jaffe knows people. He says there's big stuff in the works. Yeah, I mean, look, I believe David Jaffe. I believe that he certainly has connections, obviously, but I don't think you need to listen to, and this is not, slight at David Jaffe by any means. But I'm just saying, I don't think you need like an inside source to tell you that, of course, Sony has big things in the works. I think the people who are doubting Sony the most are the ones that are going to be the most shocked and surprised at what comes this generation. I mean, I titled my video this and my stream and the thumbnail, like, Sony shuts it down. Cause like, look at what they did this past week. It's been nothing but positive PlayStation news. And just like that, they pretty much turned the entire conversation around. It's not in full swing yet, like the excitement and the hype, but they turned it around by not only announcing a new game that we're going over right here, but Hermen Hulst, which we're going to go over this next, coming out and, just drawing a line in the sand, basically, just like saying, look, this is what we are at PlayStation. This is what we do, and, as I've said this time and time again, and I will continue to say it, Sony will let the games do the talking. Look at Returnal. Returnal's doing a lot of talking right now. How much of that is because of Sony? I mean, it's not like they're putting people out in front of cameras and saying, talk about this game and hype this game up. Cyberpunk, they're not doing that. They're just showing the game. I was very surprised that Sony just dropped it out of nowhere, previews and gameplay. And I'm like, whoa, like I had no idea this was coming. And this is exactly what people wanted. And it's nothing but positivity surrounding it, because they knew like this is a good game. This is a quality game and it will speak for itself. CI, you're saying this game is going to be a Halo killer. It could be. It could be, man. We have to understand they have a lot of talent that left Bungie, a lot of talent that worked on Destiny, a lot of talent that apparently is responsible for the creation of Destiny. So essentially, a lot of talent that very well could have been part of the creation of Halo. Now they're making an exclusive game for PlayStation. But this is, I think, falling in line with what Jim Ryan talks about when he says that they're working behind the scenes to make sure that they have more exclusives lined up and ready to go over the course of this PlayStation 5 generation than ever before. This is exactly what I think they're talking about. I don't think Sony's being strategic about it. They're not being reactionary. They're being strategic. Being reactionary would be Sony being like, well, Microsoft just bought a Bethesda, so we need to buy our own Bethesda. Like, no, Sony doesn't need to do that. They know they don't need to do that, nor would it be, realistically speaking, it probably wouldn't be a smart business decision for Sony. The smartest business decision for Sony is strategic partnerships, just like this, just like we see with Square Enix, and then buy some smaller studios over time. Perfect Image, you're saying, do you think Sony recanted because of the CMOS problem? So with the CMOS problem, I don't think this has anything to do with that, everything that Sony revealed or announced this week, but apparently Sony support has responded to people who were inquiring about it, and they say that they are looking into it. So, which is good news, because I don't care about it, honestly. Like, I think people are overreacting a little bit personally, but that's good news for people who do care, Devakin, you're saying, Hulst stepping up, it's the end for Jimbo, clearly. Well, I think a lot of people are confused when it comes to the position that Jim Ryan holds versus the position that Hermen Hulst holds. I mean, obviously, Hermen Hulst is below Jim Ryan, and he reports directly to Jim Ryan. And obviously, whatever Jim Ryan says goes. But Jim Ryan entrusts Hermen with a very large responsibility, and I can't tell. I don't work for Sony. I don't know how it works there. I can't sit here and say that, oh, well, this is the amount of autonomy that, say, somebody like Hermen Hulst has. I don't know, but I would assume he has a pretty fair amount. It seems to me it's likely that Hermen Hulst, he's the one that greenlights games. He's the one that says no to games. He's the one that determines as I said earlier, the portfolio of games that, that PlayStation's going to have. I said at the beginning of the stream that this isn't going to be a long stream, and we're already 25 minutes in, and I haven't even really scratched the surface of anything I wanted to say yet. Nate the Great, you're saying, do you think Sony's approach, seeing as they're silent, is to let the games and results and sales do the talking? I think it's a 50-50 thing. I think that people assume that when Sony's quiet, it's because it's only bad things happening, and it also means that they're not working on anything quietly. Like, they're quietly working. Like, here's the difference between Microsoft and Sony. They're both putting in a lot of work, but one is being quiet, the other's being loud. Like, the other is basically letting everybody know, like, this is what we're doing over here. Just want everybody to know. This is what we're doing. This is our plans. This is where we hope to be, and, be ready. You can look forward to this. And Sony's just kind of like quietly doing their thing. And then occasionally they come out and they're like, all right, we're ready to talk a little bit, just like they did this week. I don't know what it's going to be like next week. It seems to me, and I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this. It seems to me that every May is when things really start to heat up in the industry as a whole, including with Sony. It's kind of like in May, it really starts to, like, as I put it, the hype train begins to leave the station. And then from that point forward, it just gains more and more momentum throughout the months. Let me know if you guys agree with that. May is kind of like when everything starts to kick off. Ryan, again, you're saying, what's up, MBG? Love the content. Keep coming with the realness. Much love, bro. Thank you so much for that, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all of the super chat donations, guys. For those who are here, we have over 770 people here. Please hit that like button to help this stream out. And if you're watching after the fact, make sure you like it. It definitely helps out. So I just wanted to go over this blog post with you guys because, again, like, not many people talking about this. And, this is where I want to give Sony a little bit more credit here, where can we acknowledge the fact that Sony just basically announced a new AAA PlayStation exclusive, but they're not overhyping it. Okay. I understand why people are not talking about this very much. It's because look at the way Sony announced it. They did it through a blog post. And you may think, well, that's boring. That's not exciting. But maybe it's because, this makes the most sense if you think about it. Like, the way they're doing it right now, they could drop a trailer, of course, but they probably want to save stuff like that for when they actually have their big summer event. I mean, that would make the most sense. People Instigator, thank you so much, man, for becoming a member. That's actually 2 members during the course of this stream. Really appreciate that. Again, if anybody wants to help support the channel directly, becoming a member certainly goes a long way in helping do that. Really appreciate that, man. And then we have Riden Plays. Maybe that's how you say it. You're saying, MBG, I've been a fan of yours for about a year now. I love your content. Always what you do. Think of my Deacon St. John custom. What do I think of your Deacon St. John custom logo? Let me get a closer look at it. That's actually pretty cool, man. I really like that. I thought that's what that was when I looked at it. It looks nice, man. It looks nice. And I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support, guys. I really do. It means a lot to me and really helps me a lot here on the channel. You guys pretty much do power the channel, literally. So, like, you make it so that I can continue to keep the content flowing as smoothly as I try to keep it flowing. So I appreciate that. But we're going to move on and talk about this interview. I think it was an interview, but I know Hermen Hulst had some things to say here. Again, the title here, it says PlayStation signs AAA multiplayer game from former Destiny veteran. So they talk more about this game and we get more information about it. But again, I put Hermen Hulst in the thumbnail for a reason, because I want you guys to pay close attention to some of the stuff he says as we read along here. So Says the debut game from AAA multiplayer developer Firewalk Studios will be published by PlayStation. Firewalk is a new development team that is part of the Probably Monsters collective of studios and was set up by former Bungie veterans, including studio head Tony Shu, previously general manager and senior vice president of Destiny at Activision. So pretty big deal there. This was somebody who was largely responsible for Destiny. And so game director Ryan Ellis, and we kind of already went over this. So it says no details about the multiplayer game were revealed, but it is an original IP and will be a console exclusive on PlayStation. So it says we are really about if we can build a great team, we can build a great game with a great partnership with Sony and with great teams like Probably Monsters continuing to support us. I think this will allow us to go further and faster. Head of PlayStation Studios Hermen Hulst adds, I see this as a strategic partnership that will allow us to continue evolving and exploring new territories for us. I believe that Firewalk's ambitious vision for its original multiplayer game is going to deliver something really fresh and exciting. So something I want you guys to keep in mind when we talk about Hermen Hulst. Again, these are things that I think a lot of people either forget or they just don't want to talk about for whatever reason. There's been a lot of conversation recently surrounding PlayStation and this idea that they're going to play it safe, that they're only going to make God of Wars, that they're only going to make Uncharted's, and they're not really going to experiment or try to do anything new. People may forget Hermen Hulst was the head of Guerrilla Games. He was the one who spearheaded Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, what is Horizon Zero Dawn known for? It's known for being not only super creative, but super ambitious and super risky. Something that's just way outside of like, you guys made Killzone, now you're going to make Horizon Zero Dawn. He was the one pitching this game to whoever, had his job that he has right now back then. Okay, so I think people forget that because, again, there's like this kind of like doubt surrounding Sony. It's like, oh, they're just going to do the same thing. Like, I don't think the guy who, was pitching Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't think that's the guy that's going to deny new, ambitious, exciting things, right? Devakin, you're saying PlayStation aren't good selling multiplayer games, or I guess you're trying to say they're not good at making multiplayer games. So that's what's interesting to me here, is that this is not a first-party effort. This is a collaboration, and clearly, what's interesting to me is when they talk about this game, like clearly, it's in a playable state. They keep talking about playtesting. So the concepts, the overall gameplay design, just the fundamentals of what this game is, they're already there. They're already playing it. I would assume things like the setting and like whether it sounds like it's a first-person shooter. I mean, all signs are pointing to this being a first-person shooter. But what's interesting is Sony sees something here. Sony sees something special potentially. Maybe the next Halo, maybe the next Call of Duty, the next Destiny, right? Like, because these things are bound to happen. Like, we're going to see evolutions and we're going to see the next big thing in the first-person shooter space, right? I think, like, we saw Apex Legends recently, and I think that what Sony's trying to do here is, like, we want to have our own thing because this studio, right, or this collective of studios, whatever, we don't know how intense this partnership's going to be. What we do know is that Sony cares enough where it's like, we want to make sure your game is exclusive to our platform. So let's continue on here. It says here, PlayStation has spent much of the last console generation focused on creating more single-player narrative-driven titles like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Uncharted. So the fact that it's signed and supporting a multiplayer game feels like a departure for the company. And so I think this is Hermen Hulst. He goes on to say, I think that the games that we make are as distinct and diverse as they can be. Hulst continues from Sackboy to Astrobot to Dreams to these kind of games that you're referring to, like The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. And you can bet that we will carry on making these games because they are the heart and soul of what we do here at PlayStation Studios. But at the same time, we are just as committed to making these quality experiences as we are to experimentation and to coming up with fresh ideas. So again, like, you see what's weird. I'm not saying that this article is trying to make it sound like it's a bad thing that Sony's pursuing a multiplayer game or a multiplayer exclusive. They're not painting it as a bad thing, but they're like, oh, that seems like a departure. But it's like, isn't that what people have been asking for? You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, Sony, we love your big AAA games, and we love the single player narrative, open world experiences, right? And he clearly says here they're going to carry on making those games. So Hermen is well aware that these games are not like going anywhere. Sony's not going to bring on a new AAA multiplayer game at the expense of a single player game. So Sony's not going to boot Horizon Zero Dawn to the curb, or the Horizon series to the curb, in favor of a new multiplayer FPS. That's not what they're doing, okay? That's what he's trying to make clear here. What they're doing is they're looking at games that potentially very talented developers are in the process of making and thinking, maybe we should sign these guys. Maybe we should fund these guys. We should partner and bring this on because, you know what would look even better than having Ratchet and Clank next to Horizon Forbidden West, next to God of War, adding in a brand new, exciting AAA FPS from a new studio with talent next to that, right? It's not like, well, we have to boot God of War now, or we have to boot Ratchet now to make room for this, first-person shooter. That's not what they're doing. I feel the need to clarify this because, some people do, that's how they feel. They get very reactionary. Like, oh, no, just keep doing only single player. Like, look, Sony's going to spend money on partnerships and deals. And in my opinion, this is a good thing. I think Sony needs a solid multiplayer game. I really do. I think they need more multiplayer games, not at the expense of their single player. If they can find ways to supplement their AAA single player blockbusters, I think that works. Darren, you're saying not even Sony has player base, for example, multiplayer. To be honest, Darren, I'm not sure what you're saying there. You might have to be a little bit more clear, but let's continue on here. And I just want to highlight the fact that he says, he's saying that they're just as committed to making these quality experiences that we've come to know as they are with experimentation and coming up with fresh ideas. So it was important for Hermen to say this because, guys, like, what have the conversations been like for the past couple of weeks with this Jason Schreier report? What was everybody saying? Oh, I guess Sony's just going to play it safe and do the same thing. No, they're not. Like, even Jason Schreier himself took that back and said, oh, that's not what I was trying to say. The Mark Shark, you're saying, I bought the same hat you have on because you inspired me to get it. Took like 4 months to arrive, and when it did, it didn't fit. Anyway, I want a PS5. Oh, that sucks, man. Yeah, I love this hat, dude. It's, Fox logo. That's interesting. I didn't think I would inspire somebody to actually go seek out this hat and buy one themselves. That's unfortunate it didn't fit, though, but I'm glad you got your PS5, man. Marcus, you're saying, once again, journalists were wrong about PlayStation. Sony shut everything down with this big announcement. That's the thing, dude, is like, I'm not seeing enough of the conversation. I'm not seeing enough people acknowledge, like, all this negativity, Sony's too quiet, Sony's silent, and then boom, in 1 week, bam, 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 just 3 different things, just basically killing all the negativity. And now people are just like, oh, okay. It's like, were you not just freaking out a week ago or 2 weeks ago? Or, you know what I mean? It's like, that's whatever. But this continues on by saying, but you know what? The lovely folks that we are talking to today at Firewalk Studios, they're storytellers, just like the people at PlayStation Studios are. They are storytellers in a very innovative way, matched with their deep experience as a collective in AAA multiplayer games. I think that is going to lead to some very interesting and very nice surprises for our fans. So this is interesting to me because it almost seems like Hermen Hulst is teasing that this game may actually have more single-player elements or story-driven elements to it than maybe they're leading on. Michael Clark, thank you so much, man, for becoming a member of the channel. That's actually 3 members we got today, which is a nice little surprise. So I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you going and everybody else going above and beyond to help support the channel directly. Thank you so much. Some people are saying it's lagging a little bit. Yeah, this stream has apparently just been suffering from random lag spikes. So if that happens, just ignore it. Just ignore my webcam until it fixes itself. Ryden Plays, you're saying PlayStation is at their best when making AAA games. Also, playing Days Gone on PS5 was amazing. I platinumed the game. I just have a few hordes left to kill. Yeah, dude, Days Gone, amazing game. Happy to hear that you're playing it and enjoying it. Going to platinum it. I also platinumed it. I've come to terms with it's okay. We're not going to get a Days Gone 2, apparently. Let's see what Sony Ben does next. What I am excited about is all that experience that Sony Ben put into making Days Gone. They're going to take that experience and apply it to their next game. So that gets me excited. But I'm happy to hear that, man. Goes on to say, I'm excited about this partnership because in a way, it is an extension of what it is that we do in bringing these new IPs to life. Although a AAA multiplayer game is a departure for Sony, Hulst says that the firm's drive for distinct and diverse content isn't all about finding games in different genres. So he says, I'm very interested in creating a diverse slate of titles. Actually, the shape or form that they come in are less interesting to me than the fact that they are differentiated, diverse, and distinctive. We tend to work with teams that do have something in common, which is that ambition that Firewalk team has, but also the fact that Firewalk is a very strong, autonomous, and I would say fiercely daring team. Culturally, that's a really good match. So I seek those factors before I go into narrowing it down to genres or gameplay modes. It is more about the experience being differentiated and unique. So I got to tell you, out of everything I think I've read so far, or that I've heard from Hermen Hulst, I mean, he doesn't really talk too much, but this is so important because, again, if you know how to read between the lines, what Hermen is saying here is that we're not just going to check off boxes. That's what he's saying. He's saying we're not just going to say, well, we don't have a game in this genre, so let's just check that box off. That would be the easier thing to do, right? What he's talking about is they're looking for talent. They're looking for people with ambition. They're looking for people who are trying to create not just like, oh, we want to create this game in this specific genre just because we want it to be in this genre. They're looking for people who are willing to try to create a different experience entirely, potentially. And so, he's just basically trying to say, look, it's not just surface level. Clearly, what he's saying is that what these people are making, this game, Firewalk Studios, it sounds like it's something. I mean, I don't want to overhype it because I have absolutely no idea, but it sounds like it's something pretty good, like pretty big, pretty unique, pretty interesting. It definitely caught PlayStation's eye. And I got to tell you guys, like, I appreciate this about PlayStation. I do. Like, I would much rather Sony be very particular and very picky about what types of games that they sign on, rather than just saying, oh, well, we need this game because we need to check this box mark here, or check mark this box off. Like that doesn't sound exciting to me. He also talks about, he says that he is very interested in creating a diverse slate of titles. So he's talking more about diversity just in the types of experiences, not necessarily just the genre. So it says, indeed, the Firewalk team feels that Sony's love of narrative games isn't at all at odds with what it is building. So it is all about story in multiplayer, but the story comes from a unique place, says creative director Ryan Ellis. It's all about those surprising possibilities that happen when two or more players interact in the system. The Caped Crusader is saying, keep up the good work with the updates, brother. Thank you so much, man. I'll try my best to keep it up. Trying to keep everything flowing here on the channel. Says, I think it's best summed up with the phrase, remember that time when, do you remember that time when we took down that boss in Diablo 2 and when you got that set item you were looking for? Do you remember that time I fell off the map in that Destiny raid and it was funny even though our evening was shot? Do you remember the time when we took out those 3 tanks with the bombing raid in Battlefield 1942 multiplayer? Is this evergreen infinite story machine. It pumps out these moments and memories that stick with us forever. That's why we love it. And that's also illustrative as to why we love this partnership. Sony has been this incredible partner that really believes in what we're doing. And they're really empowering us to turn our biggest ambitions into the best experiences that we can. It's hard to ask for much more than that. So, yeah, I mean, they are really kind of continuing to beat this drum of this is a big multiplayer game where they want it to be something that's clearly something you make a lot of great memories playing. Firewalk Studios is one of the 3 studios within Probably Monsters, which is a collective of developers that are built around sustainability and a people-first culture. Within Probably Monsters, we wanted to form studios around this idea of sustainability, and that means thinking about the long-term careers of our people. We wanted to not be able to build a great team for a single great game, but to build great games over the long term. When Sony met with us, I think they got a sense for how we were building the studio, but also this specific project. And since that time, they've been incredibly excited and great supporters for us. So I just want to acknowledge this for a second, because to me, it seems like Sony is scoping out their next acquisition, potentially. It seems that Sony is not willing to just buy studios, clearly. But what they want to do is maybe feel them out. Like, this is a new studio, they're unproven, but they clearly have ambition, they clearly have talent, and it seems like Sony wants to get in on this, right? Just in case, like, if this game is a massive hit, I mean, like, imagine this multiplayer game is literally like the next Halo, but play on PlayStation. You know, like, it has the same impact that like Halo 1 had. I don't think it could have that much of an impact, but, you know, something close to that, or the next Call of Duty or whatever. Imagine it's that big, dude. Sony's gonna be like, okay, we funded these guys, we have a really good relationship with them. Let's see if they're willing to be acquired by us. I think that's what Sony's trying to do. I think Sony's trying to play buddy buddy here. So basically, when they hit that next, you know, they discover that next big hit, like that big mega hit outside of their own studios, they have a good partnership, they have a good relationship, and that is something that will fuel, obviously. I mean, one of the reasons why Bethesda sold to Microsoft was because of the relationship that they had over the years together, you know? It does matter, and it does play a part. So pretty interesting stuff here. So Hulst continues, what's so exciting is that on one hand, we are working with a group of truly experienced people, not just as separate individuals, but also they have over several constellations, collaborations on the kind of games that they're making. But on the other hand, we are working with a brand new team that has all the curiosity and openness of being new. It's a fresh group. We've been working together now for 2 years, so that's interesting. To me, that's interesting. Like, this is something that Sony's been working on for a while with this team, which I find fascinating. So yeah, we started pretty much on day one when you guys and girls came together, and that exploring of how to collaborate together, that journey has been really nice. It's actually been very much like working with one of our first party studios. Do you see the way he's talking about this is very intriguing to me. He's almost talking about it like, and we're gonna end up buying you one day, you know. That's how open and transparent Firewalk has been with our production folks on the PlayStation side. That means we can go back and forth, leverage their experience. We are also learning a lot from them, but also the great services that help our wholly owned first-party team so much. Things like the art services, the sound services, the technology services, publishing, marketing, all of that will be available to Team Firewalk as well. So it's the second startup AAA studio that PlayStation has partnered with in just over a month. In March, the firm announced it is working with Jade Raymond's new developer, Haven. So he says there's some magic to that when people come together for the first time and you start with a fresh slate. Everybody brings in a ton of experience and you can do anything. And that's the same with the partnership we announced last month with Jade Raymond's Haven in Montreal. It's very similar now for Firewalk, a seasoned group of people with a fresh start working together from day one. It's actually what I really enjoyed because we are collectively building this thing now, and that's wonderful. So I need to emphasize this because, again, like, I know that this is maybe a little bit boring because it's like, oh, we're just reading an article. It's all talk. But do you guys see what Sony does? Like, do you see the strategy here where they're helping them get where they need to go? Like, Sony is walking in and they're like, we make some of the best games in the industry. We want to work with these new studios who have a fresh slate, as he calls it, and give them the opportunity to potentially make games for us. You know, there has to be something in it for them, for us, that can be on that same level. Like, Sony's trying to provide the opportunities here. And to me, I appreciate this because this completely rips apart this narrative that people have attempted to create recently where it's like, oh, Sony doesn't care and Sony just wants to do the safest things and only, like, no, they don't. They don't at all. EG Studios, you're saying, I assume Sony is making deals with small studios, and if they make consecutive hit games, they would later acquire them. I say that's a fair strategy. Dude, I'm telling you right now, man, like, Sony, I could be wrong, but you know, I don't work at Sony, obviously. I don't have a contact in Sony, but based off of everything I've seen and heard, they're not just going to buy a studio. They're not just going to drop money on a studio and be like, all right, we're going to buy you. At least Sony in 2021, Sony, you know, people say they're arrogant. I don't think that Sony's arrogant. I think that they know what they have. I think that they look at their studios, most of their studios and their talent as like, this is cream of the crop here. And if you want to be part of that, you got to prove it. You got to prove yourself. I really think that. I could be wrong. Maybe Sony has absolutely no intention of buying any of these studios. I just think that the timing of this is interesting. So at the same time that Sony's announcing this new AAA multiplayer game that they're, you know, going to have exclusively on the PlayStation with the studio that they're working with, the same day, you know, Jim Ryan says that, oh yeah, we're still open to acquisitions and looking into that. Now, maybe he could just be saying that just because it's like something he has to say, but I don't know. I think the timing of it's interesting. So it says here, Firewalk Studios is in the upper double digits in terms of staff and boasts talent who have worked on games such as the aforementioned Destiny, but also BioShock, Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Mass Effect, and Halo. It's about ambition, Ellis says. We are ambitious. Probably Monsters is ambitious. Sony is ambitious. And we're not just ambitious for our games, but for our people as well. The Probably Monsters relationship really supports us to build the team that we need to build and the infrastructure that we need to build in order to chase big things. And we really believe that great culture helps build those great games. Executive producer Elena continues, building a culture that is focused on trust and respect. You see that. We talk about that a lot. We really have to build that, and we are. We're doing that work. We're doing the work to make that happen. The fact that the team is so new and growing so quickly means that it's been able to adapt quite well to the recent challenges posed by, you know, everything that's going on right now. This was happening as we were growing, so it has been harder. I actually can't answer that because I don't have too much to compare it to. I know that when we talk about being people first, when we had to all go into our homes, we absolutely had to provide for our teams immediately. And then we were apart physically and we were so focused on togetherness. So we really came together around our play tests. We started playing the game regularly, and that became the heartbeat of how we kept in touch. And quite quickly, we were able to get that spirit back together. We've learned a lot from that experience. I can't say it wasn't hard. It's been difficult for everybody, but we've learned so much from each other. And although we've kept physically apart, it all felt very together. So not a whole lot there that's really relevant to the game itself. They're basically just saying that they kind of immediately adapted to this work at home situation because that's just kind of how it started for them. So he says, in some ways, I think we were lucky to be at the point we are, as tough as it's been, because we are relatively a young studio. We don't have a set process in terms of how we do everything. That meant we could really adapt our culture into that setting. So I don't think there's much left here. That's pretty much the end of it. So I read over this specifically because I kind of just wanted to pay closer attention to what Hermen Hulst specifically is saying, because this is something that we've seen written up is, you know, Hermen Hulst saying that he wants to create a diverse slate of games, but not just in genre, right? So we have another new member, Samuel. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. Appreciate all you new members, all you guys choosing to go above and beyond, as always, to help support the channel here. So we're going to pivot from here, okay? And we're just going to talk briefly about how Sony, and I'm probably going to end it here soon, but Sony just, in my opinion, they just shut down the negativity. They completely shut down the critics, you know, almost like at this point, the only thing I'm seeing people bring up is like, but what about the CMOS, you know, issue in the PS4 and the PS5? And, you know, sure, okay. And then there's still people saying, well, like, what about backwards compatibility? Now, a lot of people are asking, well, because Sony is keeping the PS3 and Vita store alive, does that mean that they're going to potentially, you know, have a solution to backwards compatibility? I don't know. What I do know is that Sony is continuing to do, in my opinion, what they do best. All right. Now, I don't think that this past week is like a bomb drop moment. It's not. It's just not. But what it is Sony, in my opinion, reminding everybody, like, we're still here. And there's gonna be times where we're quiet and people are gonna run with things and you're gonna hear things not from us, but we're gonna come out and we're gonna clear things up and we're gonna let you know that big things are coming. So I think that this is just a start, and I'm really happy, honestly, that Sony came out. I'm happy that Hermen Hulst talked a little bit in this interview with Games Industry. I'm happy that Jim Ryan did that interview. Granted, I feel like they both could maybe do a little bit more talking, just a little bit, but the things they are saying are important and they're making it clear. Yes, they're very well thought out. They're very deliberate. I'm aware of that, but they're important because we have to understand that what we're reading, the shareholders are also reading it as well. So they can't be like deliberately deceptive or anything like that. That's not to say that there haven't been moments of that in the past, but it's crazy to me, dude. Like it was crazy to me. I had multiple streams the past couple of weeks where I was talking about this whole thing and like I kept telling you guys, like, I'm just not buying into it, man. I'm just not. I was never buying into this whole, oh man, it's doom and gloom for PlayStation. Well, oh man, what's PlayStation doing? The direction they're going in, things are going crazy. The ship's sinking. And I'm just like, what? No, it's not. Like, and this week Sony came out. It's just like, yeah, we're good. Like, don't worry. Like, we're making games. We're making lots of. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't understand why people are still so. Like they're so quick to question, I think that's okay, but it's like, can we just put a little bit of faith in the PlayStation? I mean, they've been doing a good job, a really good job lately, and the past couple generations and pretty much every generation they've done great. And the PS4 generation was arguably, to a lot of people the best yet. And the PS5's coming out swinging, man. Like the games that they have already. There's a lot of people who are like, well, we don't know what's happening in 2022 and 2023. Like, so, like, what does that matter now? Like, what matters now is the games that are coming this year, right? The games that are coming over the next 9 to 12 months. Samuel, you're saying Sony got some more games up there. Sleeve, just watch. Yeah, dude. I'll talk about this more during the podcast, but apparently Metal Gear is real. Okay, I don't know how to talk about this anymore because the response, it seems like my stream's crapping out again. I think that the it's becoming all choppy and whatnot. Dude, I hate this. Like, this is why I'm so nervous to stream the next event or whatever, because this crap just happens and I seemingly can't do anything about it. Well, anyway, apparently Metal Gear is real, and I don't know how to talk about this anymore because you're saying upgrade your PC. I probably do. I don't know that it's my PC because it comes in like spikes. It seems like it's my internet somehow. It seems like it's still doing it. Well, the audio is fine, so as long as you guys can hear me. Please, MVG, get an RTX instead of buying Xbox. Yeah, I see. So I hate hearing about leaks and rumors. And that's why, like, I'm not trying to talk about it too much because, oh my God, what is happening? Dude, this is starting to annoy me. It says YouTube is not receiving. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Well, I might just... All right, here. I'm just going to... Hold on one sec, guys. I hate that this crap happens. Well, you guys are saying the audio is fine, so, I'll just keep it up on this screen for a moment here because I was pretty much going to be ending it soon anyway. I really have no idea why this is happening. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. I'm not streaming on Wi-Fi. No, I have a wired connection. Check your CPU usage. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it was something like that. I do need to I probably do need to upgrade my PC. Devakin, you're saying MGS by Kojima Day 1 Game Pass 100% real. Okay, so actually I do want to talk about this for a moment just while I have you guys here, and I guess like whoever's for those who are watching this afterwards and you're not here live. So no, I'm not going to do a live stream tomorrow. I'll have my podcast on, hopefully I'll have my podcast on Sunday if everything goes well. But you're saying the CMOS issue can be patched out if Sony wants. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Now that everybody's making a big deal out of it, I'm sure they will. But okay, so I watched a video from Yang yesterday, and he talked about a Metal Gear Solid rumor. Okay, and I thought when I watched this video, he was kind of just going to relay the same information we had already gotten that I talked about as well, where it was from ACG, and he said that Metal Gear's up for grabs. But apparently, Yang, he said that he reached out to ACG himself, and ACG seemed to have, like, it was either him or the source that was talking to ACG, is saying that apparently Microsoft is trying to do something, like they're trying to get their hands on Metal Gear. Now, I have very mixed feelings about this, okay? This is not necessarily a fanboy thing. By the way, can you guys tell me, is the audio still clear? I just want to make sure, because if the audio is starting to become choppy, I'm just going to have to end it. So let me know if the audio is good, but I'll just keep talking. So apparently, that's a thing that's happening. It's Microsoft, and I have mixed feelings about this, because this is not like a fanboy thing. Like, no, PlayStation should have Metal Gear. You're saying the audio is good? All right. I mean, it would be ideal for me as somebody who's, you know, I prefer PlayStation. Yeah, Metal Gear is my favorite series. It is also synonymous with PlayStation as well. So it would make a lot of sense, and it would be a little bit weird. It wouldn't even be a little bit weird. It'd be really weird if like there was some type of announcement where it's like the next Metal Gear published by Microsoft. It's like, okay, but you know where I really get nervous? Who is making it? Because I'm gonna be real with you right now. I cannot imagine a single studio underneath Microsoft making a good Metal Gear game. Now, with Sony Studios, considering their expertise in single-player narrative-driven experiences, I could see it. I could see a Naughty Dog, even a Sony Santa Monica, you know, even a Guerrilla Games. I could see them doing something like that. But what studio underneath like, unless it's just like a completely different type of Metal Gear game, like a spinoff, like kind of what we saw with Metal Gear Rising. Now that this is Arcane, I don't see it. I don't see it. 343, yeah. Ugh. And that's the thing, is like everybody's like, well, Kojima is rumored to be talking to Microsoft. So could we see a situation where somehow Microsoft signs Kojima for his next game, and Microsoft is also talking to Konami and convinces them to allow them to license the Metal Gear Solid IP? So then does Microsoft say, well, we have the Metal Gear Solid IP, we can use it. Kojima, do you want to make another Metal Gear? I'm 99% sure that even if that situation were to arise, Kojima's going to say no. You're saying Arcane Studios top notch. They are. It's not a slight at them. I think Arcane's good. I'm just saying I just don't see them as the ones to make a Metal Gear. Look, even if one of Sony Studios were to try to make Metal Gear, I think that it could go wrong really quickly. Like, I think a lot of things could go really wrong with that. But just this idea that, I don't know, that's just that one, like, there's been a lot of rumors about what Microsoft is doing behind the scenes, and it's like, oh, okay, but I gotta tell you, like, this one, I gotta say, I really hope isn't true. That would be a blow to me personally. Like, I don't want to see. I mean, I guess you could say, well, wouldn't it be better for Microsoft to have Metal Gear than for it to just be locked away forever? I'm not so sure about that. Like, I think that Metal Gear needs to be handled with care and treated with respect, you know? I can say that as a longtime Metal Gear fan. So, you know, it's almost like, well, Sir Speaks a Lot, you're saying, so we are doing this now, MBG. Going to have a stream and not notify me? Now I have to go out with the girlfriend instead. I can't make excuses. I'm sorry about that, Sir Speaks a Lot. It's pretty much over anyway. I'm going to be ending it soon. I don't control YouTube notifications. Apparently, there's a lot of people who never get notified anytime I go live, which is really unfortunate because that's probably why I can't get over a certain number of viewers at any given time. But I think it works differently than when a video comes out. But look, there's a lot of different Metal Gear rumors. The more interesting one I've heard is David Hayder. Again, we'll talk about this during the podcast again, but David Hayder said that his inside source, keep in mind, the man who voiced Solid Snake and Big Boss, his inside source, he said that he thought it was just a rumor until his inside source texted him and said, oh yeah, it's real, it's happening. He just doesn't know when it's going to be announced. Now, I don't know if he just wasn't aware that maybe he shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say that David Hayder's inside source is probably a good one. You know what I mean? It's David Hayder, so I don't know. Devakin, you're saying there's no way to make a new MGS without Kojima. I mean, yeah, dude, we saw what Konami tried to do with Metal Gear Survive. I think the only really good spinoff was Metal Gear Rising, with who made that? Platinum. Right in place, you're saying give the Metal Gear remake to Naughty Dog. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if Naughty Dog could keep it true to the source material, that would be interesting. I think something we're not realizing as well is assuming that the rumor that Konami is willing to license out the Metal. I do believe that rumor, by the way, 100%. I do believe that Konami is licensing out Metal Gear. They could license it out to multiple publishers. So we could conceivably see a situation where both Sony and Microsoft are doing something with the Metal Gear IP. That, I think, is ideal. Give it to as many publishers as you can, so that way we can have as many opportunities for failures and successes as possible. We could see a situation where, Blue Point Games is working with Sony and they're making a Metal Gear 1 remake or multiple Metal Gear remakes, and Microsoft, maybe if they get the Metal Gear license as well, they're going to, maybe they're going to do an original game of some sort, which would be, I don't know. I think they'd be treading on thin ice if they did that. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for this stream. I wanted to try to keep it shorter than the other streams. So we're at about an hour and 9 minutes right now. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it, guys. Do me a big favor before you head out. Make sure you hit that like button to help this stream out. We have 425 likes. Let's see if we can get it to 500 likes. I think we can do that. And if you are watching after the fact, please hit that like button. But I appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you to all my new members. And just thank you to everyone who, shown up here and hung out with me for a little bit. So should have a normal video going out tomorrow. I think I'm still thinking about it, but I think I'm going to do a video dedicated to talking about Returnal tomorrow because there's been a lot of conversation about this game and I haven't said much about it yet. So yeah. And then on top of that, if you do like the streams, look forward to Press X podcast on Sunday. But that's pretty much going to do it for the stream, guys. I will catch you all later.